Everyone, my name is Jake Walbert. I hope everyone's staying safe, healthy, and sane in quarantine. I chose to do my research project on the economics of Disney's theme parks. In 1967, the Economics Research Associates published a piece titled "The Economic Impact of Disney World on Florida." In this piece, economists were saying that the construction and implementation of Disney World into Florida's economy would bring about new wages, new employment opportunities, an increase in retail sales, an increase in tax receipts, and just an overall rise in economic activity of Florida. Economists were estimating that the construction of Disney World in its first 10 years of business would generate $6.6 billion in contribution to the Florida economy. Guests and visitors of Disney World were estimated to be spending $2.7 billion, and they were also expecting Disney to create jobs that amount to 50,000, which is now 77,000 in 2020. These payrolls of the cast members will also impact the economy by them spending an estimated $1.8 billion in the Tri-County area around Orange County, which is where Disney World is located. In these screenshots, you can see from that very report where they estimated that new visitors would be spending just under $4 million. The new payrolls to cast members will be $2.26 billion, and the cost of the construction material and the equipment to build Disney World would cost about $414 million, which comes out to be just over $6.6 billion. We all know that Disney is in high demand. Everybody wants to experience what it's like at Disney. So, at the beginning of the fiscal year 2018, Disney experienced attendance levels that were 6% greater than they were anticipating, which brought in $5.2 billion in revenue in just the first quarter. They were expecting to bring in $4.87 billion. Disney encounters a very challenging but also really good problem to have. They face the challenge of having too many visitors that exceeds the capacity of their parks. And the former chairman of Disney Parks and now Disney CEO addresses this problem directly. He states that you can only let so many people in a park before you start to impede on the satisfaction level. And in order to combat this success-driven challenge, Disney is putting a lot of money into expanding parks and increasing the capacity of their parks where necessary. And this is occurring in the most popular parks such as Disneyland California and Tokyo Disney Sea. They are also adding new attractions to some of their least popular parks, which include Epcot and Disney Studios in Paris, in order to attract more visitors to those parks and have a better distribution away from the more popular parks. In order to address the demand of Disney and theme parks, I also include a quote from Jessica Reif, an analyst at Bank of America. She states that the theme park business will always be sensitive to swings in the economy. So the success of Disney is driven by the success of the economy. As you can see here, this is a list of the top 25 theme parks in the world, and every single one of Disney's parks is listed on this list. The first four: Magic Kingdom in Orlando, Disneyland Park in California, Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea in Japan. Magic Kingdom itself experienced an attendance level of 20.8 million people in just 2018. This chart here shows the exact same thing here, just in a chart form. So I want to touch on how Disney structures its pricing for these attendance levels that are so outrageous. How are they trying to combat the problems that they're experiencing? Disney price discriminates in a very unique and interesting way. The marginal cost of attendance into the parks decreases as you buy more park passes. So if you were to buy one day single park pass, it would cost you $109 per ticket. But if you were to buy 10 days all at once for a single park ticket, it would cost you $52 per ticket. Disney also offers add-ons that they call park hoppers that allow you to jump from Magic Kingdom to Animal Kingdom to Hollywood Studios and to Epcot, just for example, if you wanted to visit all four in one day. Their price increases the more days you buy. So you have $65 for 1-day tickets, $75 for 2 and 3-day tickets, and $85 per ticket for 4 to 10-day tickets. What I find interesting is if you knew that you were going to go to Disney more than 10 times in a year, and you intended to park hop any one of those days, you would end up paying $1,370. But you can pay less by paying for an annual pass. That gets you way more than just entrance in the parks and park hoppers for the low price of $1,195, $1,195. Something I find really interesting is that in 1968, the price of admission was only $3.50. So the reason I'm focusing on Disney's theme parks is because Disney relies heavily on the revenues that their amusement parks bring in. In the fiscal year of 2019, Disney's amusement parks brought in $26 billion in sales. Among Disney's 6 domestically based parks within the United States, in just the first quarter of the fiscal year 2018, those parks collectively generated $5.2 billion in revenue in just a period of 3 months. In the whole year of fiscal year 2018, Disney's theme parks and resorts had an overall profit of $4.5 billion. That's a lot of money, which is also over 100% increase from just 5 years ago. And 9 years ago, in a report in 2011, it was said that Disney World and its related businesses in Florida was generating an estimated $18.2 billion a year in economic activity. They are also offering employment to 1 out of every 50 people in Florida. And they contributed 2.5% of Florida's overall GDP. As you can see in this graph here, the revenue growth of Disney's amusement parks is over double that of media, like the Frozen movies, Inside Out movies, anything. Theme parks still beat them out, even though they are very popular. Disney's revenue for the fiscal year of 2019 topped out at $26.23 billion. And this graph here shows the growth of Disney's revenue from 2008 to 2018. In 2011, Disney experienced $11.5 billion in revenue, and just 2 years ago, Disney experienced $20.29 billion in revenue. And this is straight from Disney's financial reporting book, and they state that for parks and resorts, that for the year they generated $20.29 billion, which is what we saw in the previous graph. Disney is not just some place that someone can go to in the United States. Disney has a mouse print in almost every major market in the world. Disney has parks in California, 2, 4 in Florida, 2 in Japan, 1 in France, and 2 in China. Disney directly owns 3 of these: Disneyland in California, Disney World in Florida, and Disneyland in Paris. They co-own with the governments of China and Hong Kong the Shanghai and Hong Kong parks, and they don't own a single piece of the parks in Japan, but they do receive royalty and licensing payments from the company that runs those parks, which is the Oriental Land Company. 6 of Disney's theme park resorts all over the world are experiencing expansion efforts. So, within the next 5 years, Disney is expected to pay $24 billion just for new attractions, upgraded new hotels, upgraded and new cruise ships. Shanghai Disneyland opened just 4 years ago in 2016, and it cost Disney $5.5 billion. Just imagine all that money going back into the Chinese economy. Disney is making a conscious effort to get into the Chinese market because it is extremely crucial for them to increase the growth that they've been having ever since 1967. Disney's Hong Kong, which opened in 2005, has lost money in 3 straight years. In order to combat this, Disney is putting $1.4 billion into those parks in the form of 2 new Avenger attractions, the construction of the kingdom that can be seen in the Frozen movies, and they're just increasing the overall size of the main castle there. So, even the most magical place in the world is not immune to the effects of coronavirus. Disney has been forced to make the difficult decision of closing all of its parks worldwide. Shanghai and Hong Kong have been closed since late January. The parks in Japan have been closed since late February, and Disneyland, Disney World, and Disneyland Paris have all been closed since March 15th. It is estimated that a 1 month closure of Disney's just domestic parks will result in $1.4 billion in lost revenue, and its international parks will lead them to lose $900 million in revenue. And we are just a few days over that 1 month mark, so Disney's already losing more money than that. Disney was trying to maintain its payroll and continuing to pay its employees in this hard time, but they have since, because of the uncertainty of coronavirus, had to start the process of furloughing 43,000 of their 77,000 employees. This just goes to show you that no matter how big you are, no matter how successful you are, even places like Disney are not immune to the unprecedented effects of the coronavirus. Thank you.